and action. All right, people, welcome to the Ocean Show. For references for the Ocean Show, I always recommend doing California Impressionism. That's kind of the best ones. They're a little painterly, but not too much, so you can get some colors in there, good color balances, and what have you. We're going to start off using a bright brush, like a nice little solid bright brush here. We'll coat this in. She has a dark mountain kind of thing, cliff kind of action. So color-wise, that's the biggest thing. People want to do like a lot of blue, but in fact, there's a lot of browns and greens in there. So I'll show you the mix. You do some blue, it's really saturated, some white, some black to gray it out. Now it's getting more gray. A little bit of the greens in there as well. And on top of the green, you want some raw umber. Raw umber, blue, green. I'm gonna have a nice clean edge on the bottom of this thing. So the clean edge, establishing that. I'll show you in one little section here. And the key to painting good water is like a lot of water. I'm doing like a darker base coat right now, and then on top of that, I'm gonna start in thinner and thinner layers of paint. Okay, so when I'm doing the brush strokes, you're gonna see like what direction the water's coming in. So you can kind of like map it out a little bit. Smaller strokes. Don't just go back and forth like this. So in this case, we'll be like swirling it around, little eddies and current in there. Whee! Kind of fun. Add a little more blue to it. And you can mix it right on there. Don't make a puddle. No puddle paintings necessary. I'll do a little more brown over here. Changing color all the time. A little more black. Sure, I'll go black, brown, green. But you can see how like fluid it is. All right, then I'll add some rocks in there as well. So the key to getting like a good looking ocean, seascape kind of thing, is that you want to make sure that you have plenty of things for the waves to hit. So you get that cool looking foam. Foam really does help the seascapes quite a bit. So this is like a greenish brown. If you look at it, you go, oh, it's too green. Looks like the Bay Area. Do a little more brown, swatch of brown, then I'll like come back in with good brush strokes. So the good brush strokes, I'm curving them, a little bit of an angle, sure. I'll get some angles on there, but a lot of curvy, flowy ones. As you get further back here, though, they're gonna be more straight across lines. Down here, we're looking down at it, so it's gonna be different kind of currents. You're gonna be able to see the patterns of the waves, what have you. All right, so we're almost done with like the base coat. All right, so it's kind of greenish, brownish, bluish. I'll add maybe a little more blue and brown to it. All doable. And then I'll add a couple rocks for the foam to hit. So I'm coming in here, a little foamy. Almost ready for the foamy. I'll do this one little section right here. Then in here, so this is like all part of the base coat. And the cliff here, so I'm not gonna go straight across. The cliff comes out and in, so like this area right here comes out. So what I can do is make it go around it, push up inside there a little bit. And it comes down, maybe it busts out here a little bit. Dark section, maybe it comes in, then back out again. So it's like a little variety in how it approaches the cliff. Don't just go straight across. That would be embarrassing. And you don't want that to get out, that you make cliffs with straight bottoms on them. That'd be so embarrassing. Okay, base coat. Yeah, I'll come in here with a little bit of the rock kind of thing, figure out where the rock's gonna go. So you can have like some base coats on these things. Same basic value as the rest of them. I'll have a little rock right here, sticking out. And then with the rocks that you're putting in there, maybe a couple little clusters of them. Little rocks over here, maybe another one on this side, sure. And then, so the geometric rock formation that you have, so it's gonna be like hard edge angles. And out, down. And I'll show you what we do after that. All right, so I have the basic shapes on them now. Now we have the basic shapes of the rocks. I can come in there with a little bit more of a tint of the color. And just like the cliffs, you can add some highlights to them. It can look a little more reasonable shapes. All of a sudden, this will be like 3 or 4 lines. I'm establishing good contours. So it's like, bam, there's one there. That line. Maybe a little more color too. Like right now, I don't have a lot of color on there. But the Impressionists, they would always add color. Like that's pretty good for now. Maybe a little bit of blue. Sure. Blue in the shadow sounds good. Get that in there. Oh, it's looking pretty. All right, so now I got some color in there, and I'll go back in and finish that up later. All right, next phase. Base coat's kind of done. Got a little action on there. Take a tint of the color. A little more of the white. So with this, it's really important that you get the patterns right. So with this, you want to make sure that it's kind of like looping. Watch this little loop. Loop, 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 loop. And that goes next to the rock. It's going to be more solid white. Crushing over here, solid white, and the gaps. So the patterns that you put these things in. And we want all that green on top first. You can still see it as it gets really thin, because the key to painting water is water once again. So as I'm doing this, mix up the layers. So if you have like too many lines right there, take your brush, smooth it out a little bit. So once again, I'll come in here. Patterns. Look at my little loopy loops. Whoop, 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 whoop. This is a fast version of it. This is my project. I would spend more time. But it's not my project, so we're going faster. All right, so this is layer 1. This is layer 2. We're working on right now. And it's pure white, but the paint's still kind of wet underneath it. So it's kind of mixing with the blues and the greens and what have you around it. So, and then this is going to be super white foamy because I just got through hitting that rock. And that rock is like, oh. And it takes it, makes it all foamy. A little frappuccino over here. And the patterns of it still looks like we're looking down at it, right? So it's not straight across. These patterns are kind of hard to do. Ish. And so we have it really thin. And now we're starting to get a little bit thicker build up down over here. And I'll add a little more water to it. It's one layer, so I'll do like different layers. I'll have some areas on this thing where I leave it layer 1. And I'll leave some areas with level 2 or layer 2. And take your time with this phase. You want to be able to like paint a little bit, back up a little bit, see how it's looking. How are the waves coming along? Now we'll come back in. Here's another layer. Dang, he's going so many layers. He's like layer crazy. That's right. They call me layer crazy. Watch this layer here. This one's even more opaque. Coming in here, I'm gonna do a little swishy layer right here. Still a larger bright brush. And this layer goes over a lot of it, but not as much as the first layer. So it's like, you can see I'm just building it up slowly. So it's like thin paint is thin paint. A lot of water. All right, so this is layer, whatever number this is. I'll define some of the waves in here, but not like a lot of them. I'll show you that part coming up here. So you see brown's coming through there, which is nice. Blue patch right there is nice. Green over here. Color changes all the time because we're anti-puddle painters. Just say no to puddles. People, say no to puddles. I don't hear you. No to puddles, yeah. You guys were afraid to say no to puddles. I'm like, man, maybe they are puddle painters. All right. That layer's done. Now it's time to switch to a smaller brush. Use a smaller bright brush right here. Smaller bright brush. Take that.